We all thought we were gonna die. We talked about it on the way there. But the job is the job.
It is. I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you.
That's alright. You put in your time. No one would ever judge you. None of us would be here without you. The missions you flew? Yeah, you're a legend. That said, I wouldn't have minded, 1,000 more ships. This mission? This was a doozy. 12 T-70s, 12 pilots, 12 astromechs. And they wanted us to blow up an entire planet. Normally, you need a Death Star for something like that, you know?
I do.
Ah, well, yeah, of course, sorry. Anyway, so we're flying up there, using a battle plan the officers threw together in about 10 seconds, with a fighter contingent way too small for the job, totally dependent on a tiny ground squad that was supposed to infiltrate the enemy base and deactivate their shield, which they could only pull off if the intel we'd gotten from a first-order turncoat turned out to be legit.
We'll use the Force. That's not how the Force works.
I mean, we all like Finn now, but back then he was just the guy that stole Poe's jacket.
Let me guess. Was Han Solo involved in all of this?
Oh yeah,
Sure,
big time. He had to do some insane maneuver with the Millennium Falcon, dropping it out of light speed inside the planet shield. Guy was a maniac!
True, but one of the best maniacs.
If any of that didn't work, the whole resistance. Gone. Just like Hosnian Prime.
The idea was to take out a thermal oscillator built into the planet's superstructure. The Starkiller base drew power from its system's sun, and it had to store all that somewhere. Blow up the oscillator, all that energy gets released.
Almost in range. Hit the target dead center. As many runs as we can get.
And, of course, Starkiller was shielded, heavily defended. Certain death to drop out of light speed within a few parsecs.
Oh yeah, and all our bombers were off on another mission too. Fighters only.
It was bad. We lost one almost immediately.
Farilo with V8R in the astromech slot. I didn't know him well, but I know people used to tease him about that name, like it was a bad omen. Just dumb superstition, but in this case... anyway, we were able to get in one bombing run on the oscillator, but it didn't make a dent.
No damage.
And then the ties came in. Lost another fighter. Red one. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I don't know who was flying it. And with everything that happened after, I didn't have a chance to look. The mission log is probably still back on Karé, too.
What's left of it?
I feel terrible about that, not knowing their names. I'm going to find out, and I'll make sure they're both added to the rolls of honor. Although, I wonder if I'll get a chance. The odds of the Resistance surviving even another week are like...
Listen to me. That's part of it. Losses, death. But there's another part too. Choice. Despair or hope. Don't choose despair. Leia Organa's running the show. As long as she's here, there's hope.
After that first pass on the oscillator failed, we moved up into orbit. More room to maneuver, and a chance to get some distance from their fixed defenses.
And maybe a chance to escape if it all went to hell.
I'll tell ya, it seemed like we were already there. But then, finally, a little luck.
Black Leader, there's a brand new hole in that oscillator. Looks like our friends got in.
The maniac came through, eh? He usually did. The more impossible, the better, it seemed. Especially if he had Chewbacca along.
Yeah, but not just them. Finn, too. And Rey.
Sure, plenty of heroes to go around. Rey's really something, by the way. I've seen some things in my time, and she's... Yeah, something's gonna happen there.
Let's hope so, right? We could use a little something after Karé. So, with the oscillator blown, Poe had a way in. And he took it. Called for Red 4 and Red 6 to cover him, and down he went. No hesitation. You want to talk about your heroes? There's a hero. Poe Dameron. Man, oh man. The other fighters kept the ties busy, and then Poe did what he does. Couple shots and boom. Now, I make it sound easy. It wasn't. We weren't done taking losses. Hello Asti and XALX. Hello Calder XLX. Red 6.
Ah, Red 6. Tough call sign.
We lost a Red 6 at the first Death Star battle too.
Jack Porkins, and R5D8.
That wasn't all. Pillars Ven and BRBA, Blue 4, Sarah Belsinen's P499, Red 2. But we killed the Starkiller, and the Resistance lived to fight another day.
Our job's done here. Let's go home.
12 went to Starkiller, and 7 came back.
Thank you for telling me all this. I know it can be hard to talk about, but war stories are important. These things can't just pass into the night. I sometimes think it's my destiny. To see things, to be present, to witness the galaxy moving, evolving. It happens to me over and over again. But, even so, I can't see everything. And so, I like hearing the stories, recording them. Stories are...
Would you two please stop blathering, or at least do it on a closed circuit, so we don't all have to hear you? Such a depressing subject, too. 7 came back? My goodness. I am involved in a very important project, and you are making it extremely difficult to concentrate. Well, I never... Don't worry, Miss Rey. I dealt with those silly droids. They won't bother us any further. Now, where were we?
This passage here, 3PO.
Ah, yes. I must say these old Jedi texts are extremely ancient. The languages used are unusual, to say the least.
Can you read it?
To a degree. I wouldn't rely on this translation for diplomatic purposes, but it seems to say something like, "The Force is the light, the Force is the dark. Jedi choose the light for all it reveals."
Ah. You know, I like that. Seems like a lovely place to begin.
How's Rose doing, Finn?
She's asleep, Poe. I think that's probably good. But really, I have no idea. I'm not a doctor. Stormtroopers get first aid training, battlefield stuff, but not much. We're pretty, expendable. I think the idea was that any trooper who wasn't a good enough soldier to keep from getting wounded deserved to die anyway.
But that's insane!
Welcome to the First Order.
I'm sure she'll be alright.
You're sure? You can't know Rose will be okay. How can you be sure of anything anymore?
Yeah, well, you're right. I can't be sure Rose will be okay. Just like I can't be sure we'll get through this. Or that the First Order's gonna lose, or any of the other things we need to happen will ever happen. But I sure can't choose to believe it.
You're the only guy I know who could say that and not sound completely crazy. Anyway, can I ask you about something else?
Fire away, pal.
Okay. I have this big blank spot between Starkiller Base and waking up on the Raddus in the Bacta suit. Last thing I remember before that was being in a lightsaber fight with Kylo Ren. I gather we managed to blow up Starkiller, which I actually thought was impossible. But how did the Resistance go from there to losing Dakar and the whole fleet running for its life from the First Order? I mean, I thought we beat them.
Finn, buddy, so did I. We just gone up against a planet-killing planet, and we beat it. Sure, we'd taken losses, big ones, Han Solo even, but considering none of us expected to live out the day, we were feeling okay. We weren't thinking too much about what came next. We were just relieved. Some of us were even pretty happy, I think. It didn't last very long.
Oh dear. General Organa, please come to the command center as soon as you possibly can. We seem to have a bit of an emergency.
How did they regroup so quickly?
Does it matter, Admiral Statura?
No, not one bit. How much time do we have, 3PO?
Very little, General. The First Order will be here before we know it, I'm afraid.
All right. They seem to be pretty ticked off about that planet of theirs we destroyed. This base is unshielded. If the First Order brings enough firepower, they could turn this place to ash. We need to leave right now. Order the evacuation.
It won't work. There's not enough time to get everyone away before the First Order gets here. But I have an idea.
I'm listening.
It's pretty simple. I go up in Black 1. I hold them off long enough for the rest of you to get away. I mean it. These First Order commanders have planet-sized egos. If I go up there, right in front of their faces, they'll all come after me right away. Even better, they'll all be competing with each other, doing everything they can to make sure it's their ship that picks me off.
But you'll never survive, Dameron!
Don't count me out. I'll be a tiny target for those big cannons of theirs. They'll never hit me. And if I fly close to the Star Destroyers, maybe I can make them do some damage to each other too.
Commander Dameron, we all know what this means, and we'll do everything we can to even the odds for you. We are grateful. Your plan is approved, and may the Force be with you. Everyone else, prepare to evacuate the base. Use every shuttle and take only what we need. Combat ships are a priority, including the bomber wing. We'll need them. A-wings, you're on primary defense duty for the fleet. Go, people!
For the record, Poe, I think this is a terrible idea. This booster is experimental. I don't think Goss Tower's maintenance teams even tested it once.
I know that, Jess. But this is the best terrible idea we've got. Don't worry about it. I just want to know how fast I can go when I turn it on.
If it works. Too fast for the First Order cannons to lock on, the booster burn won't last long, eats fuel like crazy. But, if it works, yeah, really fast. Then again, if you explode, I bet you'll be going even faster.
Huh. They didn't test it even once?
Don't worry, Poe. If you blow up, we'll just finish the mission for you.
Wait, Snap, no! That's not the plan!
No arguments. No way we let you do this alone. We're coming along.
Yeah, I'm in too. This is a Black Squadron thing.
I'm sorry, all of you, but that won't be possible. Poe will be flying alone.
Don't worry, pal. She doesn't mean you. You'll be right there with me. No breaking up this team.
Respectfully, General Organa, I think the Ace and X's will be able to protect the fleet. And Black Squadron works really well as a unit.
I'm sure that's true, Captain Wexley, but I need the rest of you for something else. The destruction of Hosnian Prime was just an opening move for the First Order. You need to reach out to our allies to gather help before Snoke consolidates his power across the galaxy. This mission is crucial. It's possible that no one else on this base will survive the day. But if you four succeed, the Resistance will live.
And the rest, I think you know.
Actually, no. I don't. What happened with Black Squadron? Did their mission succeed? Did they find us some help?
Well, we didn't get an answer to the distress call we sent on Crate, and that suggests they didn't have any luck drumming up allies. Hard to be sure.
But you sure do choose to believe it, right? I mean, that's the Poe Dameron way.
Excuse the interruption, but I thought you would want to know that one of our relay stations just beamed in a transmission. Sir, it's from your colleagues in Black Squadron.
What? Come on. You're kidding me.
See? What'd I tell you, Finn? You just gotta have a little faith, you know.
Guess so.
Sir, far be it from me to temper your excitement, but,
What? What is it? 3PO? Spit it out, pal!
Well, perhaps you should just listen to this message. It's not exactly what you would call good news.
Yeah, look at me, I'm C-3PO and I feel like interrupting your conversation. Honestly, he can be so rude. I have been dealing with this man for the better part of a century and it is absolutely ruining me. I've got to tell you. And he thinks he's all fly now, he's got that red arm and he thinks it's interesting, but God, I just can't bear listening to him talk about it, honestly.